What's up, everybody? Look, this is one of those moments where when I see people like this and I see videos like the one we're going to be reacting to in today's live, I become so frustrated and confused that I want to just type away. I become a keyboard warrior. And I'm like, Didi, what are you doing, bro? It's not going to solve anything, right? Because these people will see your comments and they'll ignore them, right? These people are agents. I've seen that a couple of other people have already spoken on this, but I want to speak on it myself because of a plethora of different reasons. There's a pastor by the name of Graham Allen. This is him. This guy is a piece of work. I mean, he is a piece of work. Just from a discernment perspective, I already look at the guy, I listen to the guy, I see his tweets, and the fact that the algorithm even supports this guy, I'm like, he's pushing an agenda. My discernment alone tells me that this guy is a snake. Everything that I'm gonna show you, and you're gonna hear from this guy in this live today. Remember, he's a pastor. He's a pastor. And he is very upset with Candace and others like Candace who have, quote unquote, been attacking Erica Kirk, right? Because this pastor does not care about the facts. He does not care about the things that Erica Kirk has done. He does not care about if she is possibly guilty or complicit in any way because he has all the answers already. And he knows that the word widow in itself means innocence. It means untouchable. It means leave her alone. The word widow has all of a sudden taken up a completely new meaning, despite the fact that we know if a man lost his wife under suspicious circumstances and then he, continued to behave weirdly immediately after, he will be investigated, or at least people will call for him to be investigated. But that doesn't matter to this guy. This is the same guy that, as I said, surprise, surprise, he's a Zionist, right? This is him, a collection of tweets from this guy, speaking out against, quote unquote, pro-Palestinian or pro-Palestine crowds and protests, right? This is him celebrating what it says. Proud American stands up against pro-Palestinian supporters because of the 30 Americans unalived in Israel. I see. Right? He's a mouthpiece for the state of Israel. President Trump just shared a powerful message he received from U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. We all need to pray right now. Okay. Somebody said they like the shirt. Well, I appreciate it. Link is in the description. This is my don't put me in a box design. It looked a lot better in person than I thought it was going to look. Yeah. So very, very interesting. But before we get into the video of this guy and we completely demolish the nonsense he was saying, the lies that he spreaded, the fact that he waited until Candace went on to vacation. Before we get into all of that, I would like to bring something to you all's attention, a couple of things. This guy, Graham Allen, this fake pastor, or Allen Graham, whatever his name is, has actually been accused of being a real life snake. It says Graham Allen raised and spent $700,000 to run for Congress and never even filed the paperwork to get his name on the ballot. But he did spend $19,000 buying his own book and another $30,000 on, quote unquote, campaign apparel for his race. This is to set the groundwork. This is who we're dealing with. We have to react to his video. It's one of the wildest things, man. But something that's even more wild is his comment section. I thought we were at a place. I know the world is big. I know there's a lot of humans in the world. But I was truly under the impression. That most people, even those that were pro TPUSA, had come around and saw things for what they were. I thought, because there are so many videos out here. Conservatives, liberals, progressives, Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians, people who don't even know their political affiliations. They don't even follow politics. People from different categories have all been making videos exposing so many different things that have come out. And there's still a huge audience of people who don't care. There's still a huge audience of people that seem to not have seen it. I went under this guy's video on YouTube and I was like, people are praising this dude. They're thanking him. They're agreeing with him. But we're going to get there. Also, before we get to his video, I would like to reveal to you all that the story about Erica Kirk being a potential PDF file for interacting and engaging in an inappropriate relationship or dealings with a 15-year-old girl at the time, I believe her name was Jillian. Well, we have a major update. A major update to that story. Here, let me pull it up. Thanks to none other than Candace Owens. So before we even hear a word of what this guy has to say, defending Erica Kirk, I'm about to show you the update that we just got. Let's see what this guy's going to have to say to this. Because there's no defending this, buddy. Okay. So it says, wild update in the Erica Kirk Jillian story. Bring this closer. All right. It says, someone sent me a tip. Upon further research, they discovered that at the time of her textual relationship with Erika, Jillian, who was 15 years old at the time, lived in a trailer park within a neighborhood that is known for the highest incident of child sex transportations. I forwarded the information to Jillian and she confirmed it is true. So to recap, after striking up a bizarre friendship with a 15-year-old girl who lives in a trailer park without a father, a then 25-year-old Erika proceeds to love bomb Jillian by telling her how beautiful she is. She then asks Jillian for her address to send her chocolate-covered strawberries, meaning Erika was plenty aware of where Jillian lived. Erika knew she was not living. Erika knew she was not living with the father in the home, just like Erika knew she was a minor, and yet, according to Jillian, this did not stop Erika from arranging for her to get photographs taken without her ever having communicated with her mother. Any person defending this is demented. To be clear, I am not accusing Erika of having committed any crime, but I am saying that questions need to be asked, because it is my strong opinion that it is utterly impossible that Erika continues to have proximity to people, places, and organizations accused of child sex transportations. If this was a man, this would have been over with immediately. So let's read this. It says, apparently this is the person messaging Candace. It says, hi, Candace. I have an interesting connection for you regarding Erica Fronsby in Auburn Hills, Missouri. As a Metro Detroit native, current resident of Bloomfield Hills, it was well known that the Great Lakes Crossing Outlet, 4000 Baldwin Road, Auburn Hills, is the number one SCX transportation location in the state of Michigan. Okay, it's Michigan, not Missouri. Due to its confusing layout, close proximity to the I-75 expressway, making getaway very easy and convenient, in proximity to urban blighted areas such as Pontiac. I work down the road, and my patience and I know to never go there alone as a woman or at night, and to keep your children close at all times. It has a very scary reputation. See attached for evidence via Facebook posts. Local police have tried denying the claims through local media outlets, but residents know these claims to be true. I myself had a recent experience last month of an older man standing next to the women's restroom in the Bass Pro Shop, seemingly waiting for someone, yet no one came out of the bathroom and he did not move. When I saw Auburn Hills come up, my mind immediately started drawing these connections. In addition, I did some searching of Jill Flacone's current and previous addresses to see if her positioning in life made her a vulnerable target for Erika. Sure enough, see attached for evidence. I am not trying to shame the girl, but these are facts that I think you should be made aware of. Okay, where are we at now? And to give you some inside Michigan perspective, I know you have been in touch with Jill, so maybe you can confirm this, but I believe at the time of her relationship with Erika, Jill Falcone may have been a resident of blank, which is a trailer in a trailer park on the outskirts of Pontiac. Per Google, poverty is considered a primary root cause and vulnerability factor for human transportations, including SEX transportations. Transporters actively prey on the financially vulnerable. Keep up the good work. Do what in the world? That is. And remember, for those of you that don't remember this, obviously we know about Romanian's angels, but as a reminder, the location of TPUSA in Arizona is apparently, allegedly, it's also a hotbed for that as well because of the location. I forget what it is. I believe somewhere across the street of either the headquarters of TPUSA, I believe it is. I interviewed the guy who formerly worked at TPUSA. If you all remember and saw that video, he was telling me that the headquarters is across the street from a place that everyone knows is a hotbed for human SEX transportations. So that's wild. That is so wild. That is so wild. And yeah, it's not a coincidence. We know it's not a coincidence. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. Hit the like button on your way in. And with that, everybody, we're going to go ahead and hop over here to this guy's video. Again, his name is Graham Allen. And I want you all to listen to the nonsense of this guy. Okay. Let's get this down right. Okay. So the name of his video is The Truth About Candace Owens. She wanted a war. Here's my response. So what do we know about this guy already? We already know that he's been accused of stealing $700,000 and not filing it appropriately with the government or with the IRS as he ran for his political campaign. We also know that this guy is a Zionist, and I mean he's a high-level Zionist. We also know that he doesn't care about the facts. These are all things that we've already established about this guy. He does not care about the facts about TPUSA, Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk. He doesn't care. So let's take a listen to what he had to say here with that information.
Right, all right. What's going on, America? How's everybody doing this Monday? So we're getting reports that X is down. Unfortunate timing given today's show. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Friday afternoon, many of you know that I have been a very outspoken person against Candace Owens and what she's doing, not only to Charlie, to his legacy, to his children, but even more especially so to Erika, his widow.
People like this are so weird. He sits here and he speaks broadly. He speaks vaguely. He knows he's speaking into the abyss because he's being extremely disingenuous. So he won't get into the specificities of what he's talking about. Instead, he's just going to speak more broadly. What she's doing to Charlie and what she's doing to Erika. What's she doing, Graham? How about you have somebody on your show, or how about you feature on somebody else's show who can actually challenge the nonsense that you're saying? How come you people always go into echo chambers, or you just talk to the camera? Because you know you're lying.
I believe her intentions to be non-pure. I believe her reasonings to be evil. I believe that she's suffering from some type of mental break, possibly even demonic oppression of some sorts. But anyway, Friday afternoon, conveniently, I would say, because she's going on this break this week, to make another hit piece documentary on Erica Kirk, she decided to take things up a notch with me publicly. And she made several horrific, ghastly accusations about me. And these accusations not only affect me and my reputation and my character, it affects my family. It affects...
Oh my gosh. So now he's a victim. Now he's the victim. Remember, this is a pastor. At no point in this video are you going to ever get pastor vibes from him. Ever. At best, you may get the vibe from a person who has loosely heard about God at some point in their life. She's ruining your reputation. Is that what you're stating, bro? Have you seen the tweets? If you ever had any credibility, it was shot a long time ago, bro. No one takes you serious. On Twitter, this guy he gets slammed in his comments. I'm saying like 80% of his comments are just crashing out. Like, dude, give it up. No one believes you. We know you're lying, bro. We know you're an Israeli agent. But you come on YouTube, I don't know if it's bots or what, but we'll get to the comments under this video. It's like, my mouth drops and I go, is this some sort of psyop? There's no way there's this many people that haven't been black pilled or red pilled to Erica Kirk and TPUSA by this point.
My children, and that simply cannot stand. So I did a lot of praying about it. I did a lot of thinking about it. And the only way to do this is to confront it head on. Okay. And the only way to do this is to say that it is time. X is back up, apparently. Just got a message that it is time to tell the truth about Candace Owens. It's time to no longer beat around the bush. It's time to tell the truth. Everything that I know. There's going to be a lot of you today that watch this episode, that many of you are finding out who I am for the first time due to what Candace did and her bringing me into these slanderous accusations and all this, and that's fine. So we're going to walk you through not only the accusations, we're going to walk you through how I've known Candace for over a decade. And I know the truth about everything behind closed doors that we're never actually supposed to have said about Candace Owens, and I'm over it. And it's time that people know the truth. And it also is not lost on me that the Canaanites, the cult followers of Candace Owens, nothing I say is going to change your mind. And that's fine. Why am I doing this? Because there's a lot of people that I have shared the stage with, that I have fought for this country and our faith for a decade, that have remained silent. While Erica is attacked, while Charlie's children are attacked, while this woman tries to single-handedly,
like the gaslighting here. So first of all, if you're defending truth, which by default leads you to just defend Candace Owens in this said example, that makes you a Candace Knight or a Canaanite, which is a very interesting play on words coming from a pastor, because you know that the Canaanites were dealing into cannibalism, which is a very interesting, very bad timing with all of the things coming out about the Epstein files. So defending truth makes you a Canaanite. But furthermore, he says that Erica is being attacked. Again, notice he will not go into what's being said about Erica, because if he does that, that means he has to speak about if it's true or not. He has to delve into the credibility of these claims, which would completely destroy his entire point. His entire argument will crumble. So he can't do that. So instead, he has to speak vaguely. Then he says Erica's children is being attacked. Who's attacking her babies? If they actually have children together. Who's attacking the kids? He's just making things up.
Tear down everything that my friend Charlie stood for. You remain silent in cowardice. And that's okay. I understand.
If somebody was to ask this guy, hey, what's your position on what happened to Charlie? Do you believe that there was some funny business that happened that day? How many red flags? Similar to how I asked when I had the TPUSA pastor on, one of the biggest questions I wanted to ask him was, did you see any red flags from that day? He surprisingly said yes, but he said he didn't want to speak on them right now. He wanted to just sit back and just watch first. What does that mean? He says that the Bible says to don't be quick to speak. I agree with that. But you've had more than enough time, bro. You've had ample amount of time. Here we are 4 or 5 months later. Graham Allen, you're a pastor, right? Have you seen any red flags? Because something tells me that your position on that day is that whatever the FBI said happened, you believe it. Something tells me that day that all the red flags that all of us can clearly see from that day, somehow, some way, even though you don't wear glasses, your eyesight is preventing you from seeing the same exact thing that we're seeing. Okay.
Because as we'll show the audience here in a minute, this is why you're afraid. And maybe some of you have skeletons that you don't want Candace Owens to find out about. Okay, fine. If I got to take the bullets, I will. If this ends my career, then so be it.
So he's speaking as if there isn't literally a montage. There's literally not an incredible amount of people who, one, have been speaking out against Candace, have been choosing to not say anything about all the red flags from Erica Kirk, TPUSA. He's speaking as if he's the only one that's choosing to speak out against Candace. So he's already placing himself in a position that he's not even in to begin with. He's not this brave, courageous, person who's placing himself out on the stake to be burned alive. That's not what he's doing here. There's been many people who have spoken out against Candace. Now, to his point, the people who are choosing to not say anything, and what he means is the Officer Tatums of the world, the Megyn Kellys of the world, the people who actually know Candace in real life, but are also friends with Charlie, that have not made explicit videos, Matt Walsh. That's who he's talking about, those people. But I have other reasons why I believe that they're not speaking out against Candace, even though they've indirectly done it. They've all made videos saying that they don't think Erica should be attacked. They don't agree with the people that's doing it, even if they don't directly say Candace's name, or if they go soft on her. I believe there's a reason for that, and I believe it's because of things that have happened behind the scenes, but we'll get there. This guy's not some hero.
But if it sparks others to start combating her obvious vindictive, evil agenda and her obvious lies, then it was well worth it. I need every single one of you to do me a favor and hit that like button right now. The more you hit the like button, the more people will see this. Comment in the comment section right now. Do you stand with Candace? And that's fine. You can put yes or no in the comment section. I'm sure we'll have a lot of Candace fans in this episode today, and that's fine. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about and not very long to do it. So I want to thank our sponsors, Black Rifle Coffee. We wouldn't be able to do this show without you guys. So I want to thank you for sponsoring this show. Everybody, please.
Hi, we're Charity Water. If we lost you at charity, we get it.
One thing I want to start off with before we talk about what happened, and then I want to address those head on. I want to talk about some things that happened yesterday. Yesterday, I made an announcement on X that I would be addressing everything. And I got more phone calls, more text messages, more calls from members of the administration, more calls from people in high positions that everybody that you would think of. I got calls from pastors, high profile, and literally people wanting to pray for me over the phone.
What?
And although I will always welcome prayer, I want you guys to realize that's the level of which Candace Owens and her evilness has reached, to a point that if someone wants to stand up to Candace and her horrible, evil, vindictive attacks against Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, and even Charlie's kids, pastors feel led to pray for me before I even do my show, which I do daily.
That makes literally nothing he just said made sense. None of that just made sense. So let's just take a step back. Let's make sure we're thinking coherently, cool, calm, and collected. He's implying, he just said that Candace Owens is evil. So evil, in fact, that because he's choosing to speak out against Candace, pastors and other people in high positions, all the people we can think of, which something about that tells me that he's lying, but let's entertain it. Pastors are calling him to pray for him. Now, what are the implications here? Graham, are you maybe, could you be alluding to the fact here that merely speaking out against Candace and what she's talking about or alluding to in her videos, on her Twitter page, on her X account, rather, could you be alluding to the fact that maybe she'll put a curse on you or you'll be jinxed if you speak out again? Like, what are you saying here? Speaking out against Candace will put your life in danger? Like, what are you saying here? Because none of those things you believe is true. So what are we saying here exactly? That makes no sense. We're going to expose every bit of your. I usually don't give another, because I truly just see you as another content creator. I usually don't give you this much attention, but you're going to get a lot of my attention today because I see through you, buddy. And if you ever make the mistake of responding to me and agree to come onto the show or have me onto your show, that's going to be a treat for ages.
Does that seem normal to you? Does that seem like a simple thing that lets, oh, everybody does that, da 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 da? No, it shows you that this has reached a level no one can comprehend. So I want to say a couple Bible verses before we start this. Proverbs 68:5. Father to the fatherless, defender of the widows. This is God in his holy dwelling. Everybody keeps asking why I stand so firm in this. Well, because I believe the Bible to be true. And the Bible is very specific about the treatment of widows, about the treatment of orphans. Exodus 22 through 24. Do not take advantage of the widow or the fatherless. If you do, and they cry out to me, I will certainly hear their cry. And then James 3:14 through 16. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast and be false to the truth.
Okay, hold on. All right, hold on, y'all. We gotta here in real time. This guy is a manipulator. He is misusing scripture. So okay, let's think on this for a second. So since he wants to go to scripture, let's go. He says that scripture tells him to defend the widow and orphans. Okay. So let's look this up. How many widows have been convicted of unaliving their husbands in the past, I don't know, let's just say 20 years? Precise data on the exact number of widows convicted of unaliving their husbands in the last 20 years, so that's 2005 up until 2025, is not tracked in a single publicly available database. However, data indicates that in the United States, about 75 women unalive their husbands every 100 men who unalive their wives. For about every 75 women that unalive their husbands, or 75 women unalive their husbands for every 100 men who unalive their wives. That's not really that huge of a difference when you consider the fact that there are more women in the world, or so we're told, depending on what data you're looking at. There's more women in the world than there are men. So that's just my way of saying we know that it's possible, and we also know that the number one suspect when a person is taken out is the spouse. Even if they didn't directly do it, they're looking to see if you got it, if you paid to have it done, if you were implicated or complicit in any way. But in this case, because Erica Kirk is a conservative, she's a white conservative woman that he personally knows, that's completely out of the window. It's not even possible. You shouldn't even entertain it. Because the Bible has some verse that says that you should protect the widows. So Graham Allen, by your own logic, the widows that we just saw, let's pull this up. The widows that we just saw here, all these women, this woman here, all of these women, would you say that even though they've been convicted of taking out their husbands, should we protect them still? Should we defend them? Or should we conduct an investigation and rule them out first? Nah, buddy, you're not getting away with this. You're not getting away with this.
This is not the wisdom that comes down from above, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice. Candace Owens, as I move forward in this, I want to say that above anything and everything, I truly mean it when I say, I'm praying for your soul.
What?
I make a joke sometimes when I say I wouldn't want to be the person standing in line behind Candace Owens at the pearly gate. But I honestly say this when I say I'm praying for your soul, Candace, because we go way back.
That's crazy.
And we'll go there. I've got a book here that I wrote. And no, it's not a pitch for the book. I don't want you to go buy this book. This is my first book. I've written one since then. I've got another one coming out in September. That's not the point. The point is, on the back of books, you have these that will watch this. This will get edited and this will be clipped and this will be done. And we'll probably go back to this photo a little later, but this shows how far back in the day me and Charlie and Brandon Tatum go. In fact, this next one is a photo of me, Charlie, Brandon Tatum, Benny Johnson, all sitting together at a table before we all blew up to an extent that you know us now. I think we've got that one, Todd. If we can do that, we need to switch to the one of me and all of us sitting at the table. There you go. This was way back in the day. We all knew each other across the board. Now, Candace.
I know that's not nice to say, but your haircut is horrible, bro.
Me and Candace have known each other for a long time. This photo is back in the 3 Barstool days of the campus tours. There's Charlie, there's me, there's Candace. Back in the day when these tours weren't as popular as they are today, we were sitting in bar stools together and we were fighting this fight alongside each other. Here's some more pictures of Candace Owens.
And another thing I just thought about with this guy, remember how we've been pointing out the fact that all of these people seem military? It's almost like some sort of infiltration. How come so many people are military? We know that many people in the military are Freemasons. We know that for a fact. That's something you can just Google. Many military individuals, especially high ranking, are Freemasons. Everything about this guy gives me, and I'm pretty sure he said that he served. So he comes from the military as well. Surprise, surprise. Zionist military background. Upset with the Candace Owens questioning what truly happened to Charlie Kirk. Surprise, surprise. Masquerading as a pastor. Nothing about him gives pastor vibes. Surprise, surprise. Because you can open your phone and read out a couple of Bible verses, changes nothing. You showing that you go this far back doesn't help your claim and hurts it, in my opinion. Because you could have easily been one of the people that was set into position, masquerading as Charlie's friend, or maybe Charlie was in on it too. I don't know. Playing your position well.
With some of my children, with my wife. There's Candace, me, and my wife with my daughter. Here's another one of me and Candace and my wife. And then here's one of me, Charlie, Erica, and my wife together. So when I say all of these things that I've known Candace Owens for well over a decade, I'm telling you the truth.
Okay. Nobody cares, bro.
And when I say that Candace Owens is not who you think that she is, that's what I mean.
Okay. Give us evidence.
Well, let's go to what.
So that means that whatever he's about to do going forward, there should be receipts, correct? Because his problem, or he's alluding to the fact that Candace Owens is saying things that are lies. That's his position, right? Right? So that means that when he refutes what she has been saying or doing, he should do the opposite of what she's done because he's upset with her for doing the way she's done it. He should come with receipts. He should show us the real way it's supposed to be done. Okay, let's see what he does here.
Happen, because there's a lot of you here on Rumble. There's a lot of you that are probably confused to an extent of what happened and actually went on. So let's start off with playing the video that started this escalation. Now, the main purpose of this video was to say why I continue to defend Erica Kirk, and it was also to call out those that have been cowardice and not. I think we got to go to TikTok because I think X is still down. I think X went back down again. But here is the video, and I want to play the video in its context so you can see how Candace Owens' attack doesn't make any sense. Here's the video that started it all. Here we go. Everybody always goes, "Oh, Graham, why Candace Owens? Why?" Because she's still doing it and she's still crossing a line with my friend's widow. And maybe you're the type of person that you will allow a friend of yours, their widow, if they were to pass away. Maybe you're the type of person that will not protect that widow. Maybe you're the type of person who would just move on. I'm not. I am not getting to heaven in the pearly gates and Jesus look at me and go, "Why didn't you stand up there?" Not happening. Not happening to me. Another thing I want to say to all of you friends of Charlie out there that have microphones just like I have, that came up with Charlie, Many of you I stood on stage with for many, many, many years. Where are you? Why aren't you saying anything? Why are you tiptoeing the lines to not make Candace Owens's audience mad at you, and or worse, Candace herself being mad at you? Perhaps you have skeletons in your closet. I don't know. But I want you to know that I respect none of you. And I will never, ever look at any of you the same again. Graham, who are you talking about? It's really easy to find. Look for any of the people that do what I do that are not absolutely 100% calling out Candace Owens. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about every
All right, you can pause it, Todd.
one of them. You don't have, okay, so if you agree with that video and that statement, just give me some American flags in the comment section now or hit the like button. That was the main purpose of that video. In fact, I would argue it was more of a direct attack on those that were being cowardice in the face of Candace Owens' attacks. Now, because X is down, we had to take a screenshot of what Candace Owens says. She said two things on Friday afternoon, and I want to address them. The worst one is obviously the one calling me a pedophile. So again, this is in response to the video you just saw. And Candace Owens' response is, keep your young kids away from Graham Allen. No joke. My belief is that no man is capable of defending stuff like this that isn't himself perverted. But yet you defended Andrew Tate. But yet you literally had Harvey Weinstein on your show. But also, that right there is why so many big name people are afraid to call out Candace Owens.
Okay, so a couple of things here. Just so we're clear. My position on what he just said is I totally agree. I think many of us in the chat would agree that the not Tristan Tate, but the Andrew Tate thing, I totally agree with them. I've never understood that with Candace. I know Andrew Tate has a history with or a prior relationship with Candace's husband, George Farmer. I've never understood it. I've always been suspicious of it. I think Candace has spoken on this a couple of times. I think she's made it clear that while she don't necessarily agree, and she's even questioned him about it on her podcast before, I will agree that she's had a different energy when it's come to Andrew Tate as opposed to other people, right? I think she's going a little bit hard on Erica right now when it comes to that topic than she did with Andrew Tate. That's fair, right? I'm a fair person. That's totally fair. Same thing with Harvey Weinstein. I don't know if Harvey Weinstein is guilty or not. I know that Andrew Tate has tweeted many things that are, almost unforgivable. Some completely disgusting things, very incriminating things he's tweeted himself. Videos of him talking about things he's done with the webcams. He said this himself. Things he still tweets to this day that I don't support, I don't understand. But I've already spoken about Andrew Tate. Maybe I'll put that link in the description. We've already exposed Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is a Freemason. Andrew Tate is a fraud. I've spoken about all of this with Andrew Tate 100%. Andrew Tate is an agent. There's a reason why he blew up. He was supposed to blow up, right? He does all the hand signs. He has all the tweets with the numerology. He does all of these things. He created something called the War Room, which is almost identical to the structure of Freemasonry. And he's openly acknowledged Freemasonry. His father was a Freemason. These are all things about Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is easy to prove that. Now, with everything I just said, that doesn't help your argument, though, Graham. It hurts it. How so, Didi? How does it hurt it? Candace Owens said to you, anybody who's defending what we just proved about Erica Kirk and her inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old girl, anybody that's defending that is probably a predator themselves. Your response was not, wait, okay, that's a good point. I'm not actually defending her, or I'm no longer defending her. Or you know what? You have a good point. No. The things you said about Erica aren't true, and I can prove it with X, Y, and Z. You didn't do that either. Instead, you accepted everything that she just said, but you hit her with a Pam Bundy. What do I mean by that? Pam Bundy gets up there for her congressional hearing, and they're saying, why aren't you arresting people from the Epstein files? Why aren't you arresting his co-conspirators? Her response isn't because of X, Y, and Z. Her response was, where was this under Biden? Why didn't you all care about this before? Why didn't Kamala Harris hear this? Why did you wait until Trump was in office? Who cares? What about now? What about now? Not, I don't care about your whatabouts. Graham's response is to completely ignore everything that Erica has just been accused of with evidence. His response is forget the evidence, forget the accusation. I don't care how true it is. Candace is evil for pointing it out. Oh, what you say? I'm probably a predator myself for defending it. Cool, that's cool. But what about when you did it? That hurts your argument, bro. That's like a person rolling around in the mud and they pull you down in the mud with them. All you're doing is making a person dirty with you. You're not cleaning up yourself at all. That's crazy. He thought he was cooking. He wasn't.
Because the truth of the matter is there is no depth that is low enough that she will not go. I make a video saying I'm going to stand up for a widow and the orphans of Charlie Kirk, and I call out the cowards that were supposed friends of Charlie that are saying nothing. And Candace's response is Graham Allen is a pedophile. No facts, no evidence, no nothing. In fact, I would argue to say,
speaking of facts, evidence, what about what's been said about Erica? Why aren't you talking about that, dude? This is embarrassing, bro. This is embarrassing.
Say that most people know that we're an adoptive family. So I've had my entire life ripped apart through investigations and everything, because any of you who have adopted a child, you know you can't just show up. So I would say that my background is cleaner than Candace Owens ever has been. In fact, I also hold a highest level top secret security clearance you possibly can have. My past and my background has been looked at every single stone. Can you say the same thing, Candace Owens?
And I'm not accusing you of anything here, Graham, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here. You do know that the extent to which a person can be a PDF file could have absolutely nothing to do with their conviction history, right? You do know that you don't have to be convicted or even accused in order to actually be a PDF file, right? You do know that, right? There are people that have committed all sorts of atrocities against children that have never been convicted, i.e. the freaking Jeffrey Epstein files. Does that mean that they're not PDF files anymore? That's the whole point that we're making here.
So to that accusation that is just not only slanderous, defaming, and libel, I simply say, are you sure about that? Because for you to make a statement like that, you better have something to back it up and prove it. My life through adoption, through working with the Pentagon, everything has been torn apart, upside down through lawyers, investigators, everything. My record is clean. Worst thing that's ever happened to me is a speeding ticket in my life. So I'm an open book in that regard. Go ahead, look. Have your Canaanites go look and try to find whatever. But this is yet another example of Candace Owens taking the extreme character assassination. This is the new Nazi. calling people a pedophile is the new calling people Nazis. If people disagree with what you're saying, by Candace's very definition, I'm just asking questions. Well, anyone who asks questions about the person asking the questions is a traitor, and they're a pedophile. That's the new thing of the left. Because that's what I also want to bring up, the fact.
Hey, Graham, what about Erica? I'm not going to let that go, and I'm not going to stop saying it. Hey, Graham, great point, bro. But what about what was said about Erica, bro? What about those things? Now, all of a sudden, you can speak about facts and evidence, and you better be able to back it up. And is there anything else that goes along with that? Where's the proof? Where's the evidence when you're speaking about yourself? But what about the very accusation that's being made about Erica that Candace is speaking about? What about evidence when it comes to that? Now, all of a sudden, evidence matters when you speak on yourself. When it comes to Erica, evidence doesn't matter. Don't talk on her.
Through the rest of this is Candace Owens has been and always will be a raging leftist that has been a wolf in sheep's clothing for over a decade.
Okay. I'm just checking in with the chat to see if I'm the only one that just noticed what he just did here. Okay, so far he's presented no evidence to anything that he's accused her of doing himself. He's presented no evidence. But before we even get there, this man just said she's a leftist. Okay, so that word comes with a definition. But don't worry, this is Graham Allen. He's going to have evidence to support his claims, right? Because he was just speaking about people make accusations with no claims, with no evidence, with no proof. So surely he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do the same thing, right? What makes a person a leftist? You're saying that she's a progressive. She has progressive ideologies, right? You know that she's against abortion, right? You know she's against DEI, right? These are all things she still speak about right now on her show, brother. Right now. That alone would disqualify you from being a leftist. Where do these people get these things from? Who raised these people? This is a pastor. I want to remind you, he's a pastor. Let's continue.
The only difference you're seeing now is that now it's more money for her and more opportunity for her to let her inner leftist out. She also makes this allegation about me being on PragerU's payroll. You can see it here. His God is money. He is on the payroll of PragerU to influence people. Well, this is very interesting because you can look at PragerU's tax filings. They're a charity organization, so you can see every dollar of everything that goes out from PragerU. You won't find Graham Allen's name, but what you will find is Candace Owens' name. In fact, didn't they pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars? Because that's where your show got its start, correct? PragerU? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty positive that the only person in this conversation who's been on PragerU's payroll, as if that's this bad thing, but you think it is, so let's talk about it. The only person who's been on PragerU's payroll is you.
I'm going to have fun with this. This is going to be surgical. Surgical. So he first says Candace Owens is a leftist. Now he is reminding us that Candace Owens once worked for PragerU, which is one of the biggest Zionist, right-leaning Zionist right-leaning organizations, propaganda machines that Candace Owens 100% was working for, and they was a propaganda machine when she was there as well. A Zionist right-leaning propaganda machine, but you just said that she's a leftist, though. Brother, you can't keep up with your lies, man. You got to pick one, bro. Was she a leftist then? Was she a leftist now? Or like, did she change her mind at some point? Or because what would it benefit a leftist to make all this money pushing right-wing ideologies and conservative politics? What would it benefit her? Many progressives that I know want to progress from the Bible. They don't want to preserve or conserve the Bible. They want to progress from the Bible, which is by definition demonic. Everything you see from Candace now is not about progressing from the Bible. Somebody said Candace was a liberal up until 2017, then turned conservative. Yes, but it's very important to note that she never voted liberal. That's also something that's kind of important too.
Is you. You are the only one. This is what Candace Owens does. She manufactures outrage. She manufactures rage. She manufactures character assassination because that's what she does.
That's a very odd thing for him to say, because I'm not going to show that here at this very moment. Graham Allen, his timeline is nothing but Candace Owens. Candace Owens, liberal. He'll do Candace Owens, Israel, something about the left, Candace Owens, Trump, Israel, Candace Owens / Israel, Candace. So who is assassinating whose character here?
So those are the responses to the allegations. But now I feel that it is time to just tell the truth.
Okay.
Right? That's what Candace Owens.
Finally. That's what we all here for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank goodness. He's about to break this truth bomb. He's about to drop these receipts on who Candace Owens really is.
Says all the time it's time to tell the truth. It's time to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay.
And here's the truth that no one has ever wanted to say for the entirety of the past decade. And that is Candace Owens this is the biggest kept secret inside the conservative movement.
Okay.
Candace Owens has been the biggest thorn in the side, diva, absolute nightmare wrecking ball to the entire conservative movement behind the scenes for the past decade. That's the truth.
Oh, dang, man. That's what a truth bomb, bro. Oh, but man, whatever will we do now to know that Candace was disliked by people? Because she's probably the only one that's disliked by people, for sure. Especially in the conservative media, bro. Oh, I wonder how you feel about Ben Shapiro, but that's a video for another day. Oh, man, what a truth bomb. Now that you dropped that, I can't wait till you drop the receipts to prove that. Let's see what receipts he has, everybody.
That's the truth. Anyone who's not on record in front of a camera, they'll tell you the truth. Every single person that has ever worked with Candace Owens that's not still being paid by Candace Owens or has an NDA with Candace Owens, they can't stand her.
An NDA? What company has Candace Owens owned outside of Blexit would require her to have an NDA with somebody? She worked for the Daily Wire. She worked for PragerU. She worked for TPUSA. What NDA would she have over someone else? You got to break that down for me, bro. You might be a little lost here.
She's horrible.
I heard that.
Treats people badly. She doesn't fulfill her commitments.
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
Where's the receipts, bro? You're just babbling. You're going on emotional rants. Where's the receipts? Remember, all she does is assassinate people's character. So surely that's not what you're going to do as well, right? You're going to just provide the facts. Where is the receipts, man? Where are the receipts?
In fact, let's start with the first thing. Turning Point USA, when back in 2017, when she was like the thing for Turning Point USA.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go back to that photo I was referencing, Todd. This was at Arizona State University, and this was my very first campus event with Turning Point. Talking to the crowd, they get to ask us these questions, blah, blah, blah. Well, what's known in the background is Candace was notorious for just disappearing and not showing up when she was supposed to show up. She would just disappear, not show up. In fact, if you look in the back there, you see the sign, and the sign actually says Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. You see, at the time, I was told that it was because Candace was sick. This was them running cover for Candace. But since then, I've learned that that's actually not the truth. The truth is this was just par for the course of Candace Owens.
This could be very well much so be true. You going to provide the evidence, bro? Or is this is your source, is your receipts? Trust me, bro. Because I don't want any more trust me, bros. I want you to drop the receipts, man. Prove this. This is just what you're saying. There could be a plethora of other explanations. But you choose to share this when she leaves for vacation, so we'll probably either get it in a tweet or we'll probably get it at a later time, or we won't at all. Which is why you strategically waited till this week to do this. So how about enough with the trust me, bros? Drop the receipts, my boy.
Just negate her obligations to Turning Point USA, the very organization that you would not know who Candace Owens is right now if it were not for Turning Point.
What? This is again, this is a pastor, everybody. Candace Owens was working for PragerU prior, from my understanding. A lot of people knew her from PragerU. Most people found her through Daily Wire. He says it's because of TPUSA.
It's also known.
And I'm telling you right now, the Black community, right? Black America, so to speak, we definitely didn't know her through TPUSA. Most of the Black community didn't and has never followed TPUSA. Because unfortunately, many people in the Black community has been brainwashed with progressive ideologies. So they don't even care to watch a Charlie Kirk TPUSA debate, event, hosting. So no, definitely wasn't TPUSA for so-called Black America. Many people in the Black community found Candace Owens through her debates and like her hot takes about George Floyd when she debated the rapper T.I., things like that.
Again, the other biggest kept secrets out there is Candace Owens has morphed into everything that she feels she needs to be to make the most money that she can while she can do it.
So he's now moved to the next point and he's yet to show any receipts, man. He's just talking. He's doing what he's accusing Candace of doing, except Candace actually drops receipts.
Everyone that has ever known Candace Owens, you see Jeremy Boring talking about this, everybody knows that Candace Owens cares about two things. And really, the divide between the first one and the second one is pretty big. 1 and 2. Number 1 is money. Candace Owens cares about money and money alone.
Mm-hmm.
You see, oftentimes when people accuse people of something, like she said, my God is money, that's normally projection of themselves. Again, Candace, I have said this on the show multiple times. I'm willing to show you my bank account if you're willing to show me yours.
What?
And what I can promise you is your bank account is far larger than mine.
I wouldn't doubt that either, but what does that prove? How about this? Compare your bank account, Graham Allen, to Erica Kirk's bank account over just the past 4 months alone. Let's talk about that. They made a quarter of a billion dollars over the past 4 months. Do you care about that? Oh yeah, because they deserve it. What happened to Charlie? Well, what if it was later found out that some of the people that was complicit in what happened to Charlie got some of that money? Would you be upset then? Wouldn't you want to at least clear those people to make sure that they weren't complicit? Wouldn't you want to at least pay attention to the red flags that's coming from those people? No, instead you want to look the other way at the person that's noticing those things. Okay, got it. And you call yourself a friend of Charlie's. Maybe you know Charlie's alive and you're covering for him. Is that what's going on? Or maybe you know something actually happened to Charlie and you're trying to deflect people from looking at the people that may have had something to do with it.
So for my God being money, I disagree. And many of you will comment and you'll say, Graham, this was horrible. All her Canaanites will come to her defense and be like, you should have talked to her in private about this. The truth is I tried on multiple occasions. I texted Candace Owens on the phone number I had for her. I wrote her DMs. And then when I thought, well, maybe she changed her number, I reached out to Brandon Tatum. And I said, Brandon, can you please deliver this message to Candace directly for me? I just want to talk. I want to find out what's going on. He told me that he would. I believe he did. And she did nothing. She doesn't want to talk to me because I'm not big enough to talk to her, and or she knows that I am a contrarian to her beliefs. So therefore she goes on the Hodge Twins podcast because that's a layup interview. Let's talk about her and Charlie's relationship. It is also known by everyone.
So he's moved on now to the third thing and has yet to drop any receipts. Got it. I just want to make sure I'm reminding everybody of that.
That the thing that gave Charlie literal ulcers from anxiety and worry was Candace Owens. It is known by everyone inside that whenever Candace would come up, Candace is calling, she wants something, or she wants to talk about something, or she wants to come this, she wants to come that. Charlie would be riddled with such anxiety that other people would have to talk to Candace for Charlie because Charlie knew what Candace actually was. It's like that scene from Halloween. I don't know how many of you have seen that, but there's this scene with Dr. Loomis, and he's talking about Michael Myers, and he's talking about the fact the first several years he spent trying to reach Michael Myers, and then the next 10 years he tried to keep him locked up because he saw that what was behind those eyes was nothing but pure evil.
What?
I believe that the same thing happened to Charlie behind closed doors with Candace Owens.
Oh, you believe it? Okay. So you're going to show us some proof? Man, you could bury Candace right now. Where's the proof, my boy? You're a pastor. Where's the integrity here? Stop just yapping and gossiping. Show us the proof.
Charlie at some point saw what was behind Candace Owens' eyes. And all he wanted to do was figure out a way to appease her enough to not have her turn against Turning Point, because you're seeing what happens when Candace Owens decides she wants to destroy something somebody, someone, some movement, whatever it may be. Charlie lived in fear of Candace. Not because he didn't believe that he could defeat her, but we had elections to win, and it looked best to look as a united front in front of the world so we could win this elections. And he knew of what she was capable of doing if he did not. That's the truth.
Okay. So now he's implying that if Charlie had done something to upset Candace or spoke out against Candace, that Candace was going to go on this tirade against her close friend. That's what he's alleging here. Man, I can't wait till he gets to the receipts, though, because right now it's just hearsay.
That is the truth, among everything.
Yeah, when the person has to repeat, that is the truth, that is the truth, that is the truth among everything. When you got to repeat it 3-4 times, that's your way of saying, those are my receipts. Trust me, bro. I wouldn't lie. Yes, I'm doing the very thing that I'm accusing Candace of doing in real time, but I'm not like Candace. I'm different.
Charlie grew to a point where he could not stand her. And in fact, if you look at Candace's history, this is par for the course of Candace.
Say more.
In fact, it's deleted now, but in January of 2016, this is the article seen around the world that most people had trouble finding because since then the website's been deleted. But this is less than a year before Charlie and Candace met. Now, this really is Candace Owens. It even says at Candace_Amber, which if you know anything about Candace, you know that's her middle name. And it's an article written January 6th of 2016. I think affairs are romantic. Let's just read a little bit of this, shall we? And I know this is going to piss a lot of people off because cheating is awful, because millions of families are torn apart year after year because therapy, because counseling, that's why. I mean, even without the promise of marriage, the devastation it causes on even the most basic levels of dating is unthinkable, horrible. But I think affairs are romantic. I've an admittedly twisted mind. It's never swam along with the masses. Where the world sees black lines, I am blinded by colors and shapes, wonderful patterns, daring zigzags, lyrical neons. We hear that someone has had an affair and the world cries out, quote, tragedy, but I, sweet comedy. Humor found not in collateral damage of tears, but in our inescapable humanity. I laugh with the universe as it silently mocks our institutions, marriage, dating, and other associated obligations, structured lines, make-believe lines, rendered powerless by our inevitable chaos, by the one look and then lust, the one sentence and the fall. And falling is falling after all. It's a descent and then a crash without intent, purpose, or control. Nobody falls on purpose. It's fatal misstep and then gravity at risk to both yourself and others. A nice little thing here. We won't read anymore, but that's Candace Owens a mere 1 year before she met Charlie Kirk.
Okay, so maybe he just presented something that is a form of a receipt. If this article is true, if this is real, if she did write this 10 years ago, I don't care if it was 10 years ago. I don't care if it was 2 years ago, 6 months ago, 10 months ago. It's wrong. It's disgusting. And I disagree. I do not stand behind this statement. Maybe Candace is a different person today, but even in that real time, this is disgusting. There is no justification for what she wrote. But Graham is not understanding that saying this hurts his argument here. How so? Graham, you do understand. Let me make myself bigger on the camera for this part. You do understand, Graham, that by sharing this blog or this article by Candace, if she really did put this out, and if Candace sees this, I'm sure this is something that she may address. Again, I totally disagree with what she said there. I totally condemn it. But you do realize that there are worse things that's been said about the very person you're defending in this video, right? The things that have been said about Erika outside of her relationship with this 15-year-old girl are light years worse. And the evidence, this is just words written down. This wasn't even Candace, from what we saw, saying that she indulged in affairs, that she facilitated affairs, that she's been involved with married men or taken men. She didn't even make those types of confessions. She just talked about the ideas of affairs, which once again, I disagree with. But that's totally different from lying about being in relationships, inappropriate relationships with 15-year-olds. Your ties to the CIA, fake crying, right? Gaslighting the public about your husband, lying about your history, right? It's been so much stuff that's come out about Erika. I don't even remember everything, right? This hurts you, bro. Because if you can dig this up about Candace, why aren't you talking about the same things with Erika?
Again, I say, my point to you today is Candace Owens has always been a leftist. She's been a leftist for the past 10 years. And now it's becoming cooler for her to admit her leftist tendencies.
What?
You see, I know for a fact of how Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens actually met.
Wait, you said it's become easier for her to now speak on her leftist tendencies. What tendencies has she spoken about recently that lead you to believe she's a leftist? This makes no sense. You're just babbling. You just showed something from 10 years ago.
You see, very shortly after that article, Candace Owens sees it's not really getting a lot of traction. It's not really taking off. Then this mythical thing started happening where here comes the mythical unicorn idea of the black conservative. Now we have a real moneymaker. Candace then changes her YouTube to Red Pill Black. She starts making YouTube. In fact, I was first introduced to Candace via text message of Chad Prather while I was in New York going on a Fox News hit. Candace was just starting. And to her and Charlie's own verbal admission in front of thousands of people at Turning Point USA's Winter Gala events, the very same one that she mocked Turning Point for doing this year, Charlie Kirk would tell the story of how they met, and Candace would agree that somewhere in that January of 2016 to 2017, when they met, Candace has this radical transformation. She becomes a black conservative, and she approaches Charlie Kirk at an event saying, "Hi, I'm Candace Owens, and I want to free the minds of Black America from the Democrat plantation." Now, I don't know if that was a scripted thing between Candace and Charlie to say, because, man, is the PR of that great, but that's what they did.
Where's the gotcha there? Where's the gotcha there? That you had a human being who just so happens to be black. I'm getting racist vibes from this guy, by the way. Racial undertones in the things that he's saying. But let's continue. Let's just stick to what we do know. Because part of this feels like he's upset that Candace is doing things that he don't have the courage to do. That is calling out TPUSA, calling out Erica Kirk for the obvious lies that they've been telling. And he's looking at her like, how can a black woman do this? And I don't even have the courage to do it. His gotcha moment here is that Candace Owens in 2016, at a very young age, approached Charlie and said, look, I've been radicalized and I now see the light. The black community has been brainwashed. We've been led astray, hoodwinked, bamboozled. And I would like to be the person to try to help steer them in the correct direction. We don't hear about God nearly as much as we used to. They've taken the Bibles out of the classrooms. We've been taught that the color of our skin defines who we are as a person. You're automatically a victim. I would like to help them see it differently. If you gave me an opportunity, are you open to a conversation? His gotcha is that she did that. What's the issue here? That's a good thing, bro. That's not bad.
And for someone who says certain things are so weird all the time about how Erica and Charlie met, isn't that a little weird that Candace Owens inserted herself into Charlie Kirk's life and not the other way around? Or at least that's the public story of which Charlie and Candace both told everyone. And I do not believe Charlie to be a liar.
I'm not following you here. I'm not following you here. What's the issue? I heard nothing wrong here. She approached somebody about a political affiliation. You didn't just drop a truth bomb about how she approached him flirting with him, or she was romantically pursuing him first and then it turned political. No, she approached him on politics.
It's a little weird if you ask me.
Pastor, remember, this is a pastor, everybody, who has now spent 35 minutes attempting to assassinate the character of a person while also accusing them of being that same person, has shared very little to no receipts, only a bunch of trust me bros, a lot of trust me bros. Now he's saying that it's weird that she approached someone with a political ploy. Okay.
Then she goes on to be Turning Point and blah, 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 and she can't get her story straight. In fact, can we find the clips, Todd, where she says one time she left because Charlie lied to her, and then the other time she was actually fired? It's the segment with the dual videos on it. Whenever you have that ready, let's pull that up, because we can't even get the story straight on why she left Turning Point USA.
This is about to be golden. You talking about an embarrassing moment. You all, if you haven't been listening, if you haven't been keeping up, watch what he's about to do here. Brother, I'm going to need you to use every bit of your brain cells respectfully, man. This part is embarrassing.
Even though everybody within Turning Point USA knows why she left, no one could stand her. But let's listen to what she has to say. So let's click the one on the right first. This is from her podcast, where she says the reason she left Turning Point USA is because Charlie lied to her about money. Let's click the one on the right, Todd, if it'll play.
I was resigning from my position. As the communications director of Turning Point USA. Now, there has been a lot of public speculation as to what led to that decision. The media ran with it was anti-Semitism or some disagreement about Kanye West, but that wasn't true. None of that was true. The truth, and I think that you very well know what the truth is, because you were around for it, is that Charlie and I had a disagreement, which fractured my trust in him. He did something that he had never done before. He lied to my face about money. Now, in retrospect, I believe that the manner in which I discovered the lie might have
Pause.
been
That's
by
it. That's all we
design, but-
need. Candace says on her show that she resigned because Charlie broke her trust and he lied to her.
Well, before we continue, it's very convenient that he decided to cut that clip off there. Not that it's needed here for the point that he's about to make, because he's about to embarrass himself regardless here. But just for the record, she goes on in that clip to talk about how Charlie Kirk lied about meeting with I believe a Zionist. He met with a funder. Why would you lie to your friend about that? That tells me that Charlie Kirk, and I've said this before, was going in a particular direction he didn't want her to know. And when she let him know in real time that she knew he was lying about meeting with this person, she said she could see Charlie's face drop. Now, let's hear what he's about to say. He thinks that this clip he's about to play is a contradiction, but it's not at all.
About money. But then she goes on the Hodge Twins podcast and she says that she was, quote, gotten rid of. Let's play that.
You have to understand, like, when you do deals with Satan, like, he's not the creator. He is constantly trying to rebel against the creator, so he can't create. And so when these people get rid of people that are good and godly, Charlie got rid of me because I said, yeah, I know you can't just mass murder kids. Jennifer is always wrong.
Charlie got rid of me because you just can't mass murder kids. So which one is it? Were you fired or were you let go? We all know the truth. You were fired.
Okay. So he thinks this is a gotcha. So I'm pretty sure this guy's much older than I am, but I'm gonna speak to him like he's a 10-year-old. Because here he clearly doesn't have the mental capacity to understand the differences in your roles at an organization. So allow me to help him out here a little bit. Candace Owens worked as a communications director, manager, whatever. That was her official title at TPUSA. In the first clip, she speaks about what eventually led into that role coming to an end after she found out and she had a falling out with Charlie because of it. In the second clip, she's speaking about her speaking role. Can you understand the difference here, Graham? Candace had an official working title with TPUSA that was no longer after this lie she caught Charlie in. They remained friends, and she would still tour and speak at events with the TPUSA crew. She was still on their payroll to speak at events. When she was at Daily Wire, she was working at Daily Wire while speaking at TPUSA. While she was at Daily Wire, she tweeted about the war that's taking place in the Middle East. She just said it's always wrong to mass unalive children. Ben Shapiro did not like this. So he worked behind the scenes to have different organizations to quote unquote punish Candace Owens for saying this. Candace explicitly spoke about this on her show. Right? Matter of fact, let's see if we can pull that up in real time. I might not be able to, but let's see. Let's see. Trying to ruin. Let's see if we can pull this up. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Okay. Maybe I can. Yeah, I'm not able to put it up here in real time, but yeah, that's definitely a real thing. So that's the distinction here. One is talking about her official title at TPUSA that came to an end. That's what she's referring to in the first clip. The second clip is talking about almost like her consulting position where she would speak at TPUSA events. She was still on their payroll to speak at events while she was working at the Daily Wire. It's not that difficult to figure out, bro.
Just like you were let go from PragerU. So let's talk about other things that are weird. Erica wants to talk about the weird.
PragerU Zionist, Daily Wire Zionist, TPUSA Zionist. How convenient.
Weirdness, or excuse me, Candace wants to talk about the weirdness between Erica and Charlie's love story, but yet no one calls out the fact of the weirdness between her and George Farmer's love story. So let's look at this interesting video right here. First of all, this is the PragerU set. The very company that Candace says I'm on the payroll for to attack her. Chick, you worked for PragerU.
This dude just said chick. This is a pastor, bro. This guy is a pastor speaking like this.
They paid you hundreds of thousands of dollars for you to start your podcast. But I digress. This is them talking about how they met, were engaged, never had any romantic interactions.
I mean, we know all of this already. None of this is news. Where are the receipts, bro? You say you were going to drop truth bombs. Yeah, I don't even care to play the rest of this. I mean, this is what I wanted to show you all, though. I do want to show you all this. I almost forgot. It's the comment section. Let me make this big. What am I doing? Wait till you all see this comment section. Yeah, I agree. I think he wanted to call her something else. There are many verses in the Bible against gossip, and this man as a pastor should know this. I promise you, I was saying Graham is a Paramount Tactical twin. Literally reminds me of Gary from Paramount Tactical, and they're both military. But let's go to this comment section. Before we do, let me make sure I say out loud. I was under the impression that clearly by this point, in February of 2026, I understand even if you loved Charlie, you loved the TPUSA, the purpose and the goal is to try to get to the truth. If there's some fraud that happened here, if there was some corruption, right? Some lying, some backstabbing, some fraudulent behaviors. It is on us to not ignore it. So clearly by this point, there's been all these videos released, all this evidence, all these files. All these people have dug into these people's history. There's no way. Too many large content creators have all exposed this. Yet this comment section I'm about to show you, you wouldn't even believe that. Everything I just said, you wouldn't even believe is true. So let's go and see what the comment section talking about. Somebody said, all Christians felt his death to the core. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so sick of no one standing up to her. Finally, someone exposed her. Thank you, Graham. Thanks very much for this video, Graham. God bless you. It's time to start suing for defamation. I stand with Miss Erica Kirk, TPUSA, and you. Thank you, Graham. Megan and Tucker, this is how it's done. Tell the truth. Thank you so much for this, Graham. I 1000% stand with you, Graham. If Candace and Charlie had remained close friends, she probably would have text messages more recent than 2018, right? So now they're claiming that Candace doesn't even have text messages more recent than 8 years ago. Even though we've seen Charlie and Candace together for years since that point. She keeps talking about how much money Erika is making from Charlie's death, but she is silent on how much money she is making from his death. Let's be clear about the difference here, people, because I know people don't understand this. There is a difference between talking on your, let me make myself bigger for this one. There is a difference between talking on your YouTube channel, which is what you do anyways, about whatever topic you want, and making money from Google talking about whatever you want. There's a difference between doing that, especially when you're exposing evil, and literally using Charlie Kirk's organization to make $250 million off his death, selling merchandise with his face on it. That's literally making money off Charlie Kirk. Despite all of the red flags, that's making money off Charlie Kirk. It's demonic for sure. Thank you for standing strong against the evil she spews. Thank you for not being a coward and calling out evil acts. Charlie would be proud, and so am I. Candace needs a few lawsuits thrown at her from some high places. Defamation, libel, hit her with it all. She and Farmer are not conventional, very strange in one way or another. Now, while I have my, I definitely have and have had in the past questions about the nature of their marriage, even though it's not my business. Isn't this a bit weird for them to say this about Candace and her husband, but Erika and Charlie, they ignore? So now you're showing that you do have the ability to notice things when they're not normal. You people are exposing yourselves. Absolutely not a part of the Candace cult. Finally, somebody with some sense. What's up with the exit wound? Can anyone explain this? I've watched so many ballistic videos. Basically, a 1 in 1,000 chance it doesn't exist. It doesn't exit. Somebody said, I don't think she was ever a conservative. I've come to believe she's been a plant and or a grifter this entire time. But I also think she has no real belief system at all and is able to blend with whomever can benefit her, you know, like a sociopath or a psychopath. I flip-flop between them two. Between those two. Even demon is too biblical of a word to describe her. I feel dirty every time I listen to her when she started this Charlie conspiracy. I think she's evil, and nothing can convince me otherwise. I used to love Candace, but after she went off the rails regarding this Charlie TPUSA, and when she went after Tim Pool, I was done with her. You have a new fan over here. Hadn't heard of you before now. Love how you want to honor the Lord and also honor Charlie. Who are these people? Who are these people? She is disrespecting Charlie, his wife, and children at the same time, claiming CK was her dear friend. How sick. I'm just at a. I used to follow her. She went from smart, honest, and fierce to evil, disgusting, and dishonest really fast. She saw an opportunity and sold out for money and revenge. The blind followers are what's really disturbing. It's truly a cult. I hope a few come around. I gotta click and see. Are these real people? Yes, these people have commented on other videos. And they're subscribed to. This can't be real. This person is subscribed to Dan Bongino. Candace was never a conservative. She was a chameleon. No wonder Daily Wire kicked her to the curb. Respect for having the backbone to say what others wouldn't, even though it's people all over the place saying it. Truth over silence always. Love you, Graham. This show is so spot on. You are not going to lose this platform. There are plenty of good people in this world. We will stand by you and support you. Really pleased you're speaking up. I hope more come forward now, but more importantly, the gospel call at the end of your vid. Charlie not calling her out and defending his friendship with her in public was his fatal mistake. Charlie Kirk has allegedly lost his life. But that betraying the people that some of us believe really behind what happened to him, that wasn't his fatal mistake. Getting in bed with those people. What was really his fatal mistake was being friends with Candace Owens. Just found you and appreciate your courage for pushing back on a bully. Right on. So thankful for this. Candace is crazy. How are these people real? Listen to this one. This person says, listen up, influencers. If you all come together and expose the truth about Candace's evil deeds, she won't stand a chance. United, you have the power to crush these demonic lies. Remember, there is strength in numbers. Enough of that. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. They saying that we're cult members. And we look at a lot of them as cult members. If you've been on this channel, you know I've been critical of Candace about a couple of things before. Did Didi go over the audio Baron played yesterday? I love to hear your take, Didi. No, somebody got to put me on game. I don't watch anybody else, which I think is going to bite me in the butt, because if I make a video about something that they've already covered, then less people will watch the videos, but I don't know what other people talk about. So if somebody can tell me the audio you're talking about, is it an audio I hadn't heard before? Which, by the way, I would highly encourage you all to go and watch the video I dropped yesterday, where we were talking about Erica Kirk's real estate career, if you will, and how it ties back to Jeffrey Epstein, but also tie in J.D. Vance, Vivek Ramaswamy, Peter Thiel from Palantir. It gets really weird. The owner of the company, the real estate agency, was called Corcoran, the Corcoran Group. They were in business with another group, I believe, called the Corcoran Living Facility or something, which is also a real estate agency that was accused of fraud and money laundering. I would encourage you all to go and watch that. Didi, every podcaster has something to offer with your own perspective. Doesn't matter if it's the same subject matter. That's true. That's true. Somebody said, and I'm gonna read this one, and then I'll get to the super chats. I never followed Candace before, and I never cared to follow her. However, she has something with this investigation. I agree that she has something with this. I tuned out of Candace for like a year, a year or something, because I didn't care about the Blake Lively stuff. I just don't care about that stuff. It came off as gossipy to me. I don't care about it. I'm sure there was some important things about it, but I just didn't care about that stuff. So I didn't tune into those. I did see some of the early episodes about Brigitte Macron, because that has other implications about world leaders. That's more so into what I talk about on my show. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. All right. Let's see. Contentious podcast. I saw Graham Allen's post on Instagram and it made me sick. I told him exactly what I think of him. I can't believe I used to follow him. Thanks for exposing him as the false pastor he is. Jesus Christ is Lord. Jesus Christ is Lord. And my thing here is not even to bash the guy. My thing is, I just wish people like that would have one conversation with me on camera. But one pastor made that mistake already, and he humiliated himself. I was asking him basic questions about TPUSA, and he's like, "Well, the Bible says," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm asking you, do you see any red flags? Are people wrong for noticing?" That's what I'm asking you. You know? Thank you for the $20 super chat. Thanks for your ongoing work, Didi. You're a good bunny. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. What about the fatherless minor Erica Kirk spoke to? That part. Thank you for the $2 super chat. That part. So he has the ability to dig into a person's past only if he's upset with them for digging into other people's past. But if you notice, he won't dig into any of the granularities of what Candace and the rest of us has been saying about Erica's past. What we've been saying about Erica's behavior. He doesn't care. Because if he actually has a substantive conversation about that, he exposes himself. That's why. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Yo, did he got a podcast? Candace gonna. That's funny. And that's why he waited now. That's why he waited. And again, I'm not even here necessarily to defend Candace. I'm here to defend truth. We have the right to investigate these things, man. This is a quote-unquote murder investigation because somebody allegedly lost their life. And people like Graham is saying, stop thinking for yourself. Stop being independent thinkers. Don't entertain the possibility that someone other than than who the FBI tells us could have had something to do with it. Crazy. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Is it DJ Paco Ramirez? Looking to the Sumerian tablets, Diddy. I'm familiar. The Bible has been copied many times. You can't trust it. I don't believe that part. That's a different conversation, though. They use it now and always for control. Look into the Emerald tablets. I'm familiar. God is real, but religion is not God. Yeah, that's a conversation for another day, man. Who's the guy? What's the guy's name that really popularized the Emerald tablets? Carson, whatever his name is. He got exposed. I covered him on the channel. What's the gentleman's name? Wes Huff? I believe Wes Huff is his name. A biblical scholar that exposed the narratives around Emerald tablets. But I digress. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I love what you do, Didi. Destroy this. and definitely not a pastor Christian. I'm not into the name calling, but yeah, we have to, for me to spend an hour and a half dedicated to like just react, I just got to refute lies. Like, and then when I saw the comment section, I'm like, this is infuriating. I can't respond to everybody in the comment section. Like, you're just lying. I'm like, it's like it's almost like those people are from a different planet. It's like they're from a different planet. And then they only come back to this planet to speak. But the moment someone wants to respond or give them the facts, they leave again. Because how are you on this planet and you haven't seen all these things about Erica and TPUSA? How? Contentious Podcast, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. This just shows you how terrified they are about Candace's upcoming series on Erica. Very good point. Very, very convenient timing. She's got this guy acting like a fool. I'll be watching with popcorn, right? Yeah. It wasn't lost on me either that it just so happens that right before, the week before, she comes out with this series. When she announces that she's going to take this week off to prepare for this series about Erica, he comes out with this. Let me come out as a pastor and just gossip about things that was said about you behind your back at TPUSA for years while providing no receipts. But I'm also going to complain that you don't have receipts. But I'm a pastor. And I love Charlie. And I loved Erica. And even though I don't really want to know what truly happened to Charlie, even though I'm discouraging people from actually looking into it, because that's how you actually show you care about a person, by encouraging people not to look in what truly happened. I got this mysterious, weird military background, just like all these other pastors and people affiliated with TPUSA, the McCoy family, the Covette family. Okay. Control Your Vessel, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. As we are connecting the dots, this girl is so fortunate. The Erica Kirk boyfriend at the time got cut by the Pistons. She had been living with him in the Dominican and China as his career progressed. She moved on to a relationship with JT Massey in Arizona. She did. Very good point. Very good point. Let me see if I can show you all this as well. Erica Kirk was potentially involved in a relationship with a woman. Let me see if I can. Project Constitution shared something earlier. Here it is. So this is Erica responding to somebody. My heart and this building have one thing in common: full occupancy with you in my life. I know the best restaurant in town, my place. Okay, so that's her responding. And then this girl is like in a bikini with her behind out. And Erica said, "Are you from the moon? Because your physique is out of this world." Now, again, someone could easily look at two women speaking this way to each other and take a different interpretation, as you would if it's a man speaking to another woman. But given what we've already found out or know about Erica, and especially how she was acting with the 15-year-old girl, it's not far-fetched to believe that she could have meant this the same way she would mean it if she was speaking to a man. Cuff me or nah. All right, the girl responds 5 years to life, but parole if you're on good behavior. She responded, good thing I submitted my application 6 years ago. Erica also said, your shirt looks a lot like my thoughts, tied up with you. Cool. And again, it can mean nothing.
I'll take you.
These things are just so weird. Who are these people? It just seems she know everybody. So I guess she surprised her. I don't know. Yeah. Zero evidence, zero discernment, 100% emotional breakdown. Right. You spent an hour-long podcast doing the very thing you're accusing Candace of doing. Where is the discernment as a pastor? I never got pastor vibes from him. He's not the only one. Rob McCoy doesn't give me pastor vibes. John 10, chapter 10, verses 19 through 21. It's exactly what we're seeing happen to Candace. They did it to him first. He has a demon and he's crazy. Why do you listen to him? They hate truth and anyone who truly follows him. Amen. And thank you for the super chat. Yeah, exactly. He has no real receipts. It's all just a bunch of hot air. He is simply jealous that he is not even in the same league as Candace. That's how I see it, because he's in a funky position. He knew Candace early on, and I think they look at Candace, they're jealous of her popularity maybe. So this is the way to kind of come up themselves. That's how I see it. Because whether you agree with everything Candace does or not, but if a person is telling the truth, truth is what should matter. The moment Candace does something I don't agree with, you all will see me speak out about it. But if she's pursuing evil, I'm going to support that. All right. Let me ask spiritually blind Bible thumper Graham Allen, what exactly do you reckon that Bible verse would help you protect widows from? Justice? Right. A pow investigation? Armed robbery? I wish I could pin this one. Yes, exactly. I couldn't have said this better myself. You go to the scriptures to show that the Bible, it's like, but he's a Zionist. He's the same person that will lie about how the Bible says you're supposed to support it, the current modern state of Israel, no matter what. We say, well, show us the scripture where it says that. He says, the Bible says, blessed he who blessed the Jews. The scriptures never said that. Crazy. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Didi, I love this channel because you worship people. You don't worship people in money. You seek truth, and truth is God. Keep going, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. I believe you meant to say because I don't worship people in money. Thank you. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Didi, thanks for your patience. This man is ridiculous. Charlie was so afraid of Candace Owens that he toured with her in 2024. He's so afraid of her that he literally, and I forgot about this, the text message where he literally said, I'm thinking about bringing Candace back. There had been a short stint where she hadn't spoken a while because he had been receiving pressure from people like Ben Shapiro. Andrew Kovic told Candace that directly, that Ben Shapiro was pressuring Charlie to prevent Candace from speaking because of her tweets about Israel. And wanted her at AmFest 2025. Right, exactly. That part. But he was afraid of her. Charlie was just as popular. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He's virtue signaling the angry black woman. Right. Right. Oh, my, meant you do not worship people. My bad. Love you, Didi. God is love. Absolutely not. I definitely knew what you meant. I appreciate that. Much love to you as well. Didi, Candace was still under contract when TPUSA when they sent the cease and desist, wasn't she? What cease and desist are you referring to? Because I don't know when she was under contract. Because my understanding is she's been speaking with TPUSA up until 2024, which is really recent. Remember, it was just last year when everything transpired. We got halfway through the year by the time, everything happened with Charlie. So Turning Point's new talking point. Charlie was afraid of an angry black one, right? Their lives are not working. And Charlie Kirk's death is exposing people who side with evil. Yeah. There's also a lot of talk on Twitter. I don't know if you all know this, but apparently Turning Point has been accused of taking down a lot of Charlie Kirk's older episodes. And many people believe this is because a lot of us that are investigating and digging into history will be able to find certain hints and nuggets and, information that could expose certain things about TPUSA if people follow a trail, And so it's been a lot of back and forth on Twitter. And this guy who is in control of posting Charlie Kirk's videos quote tweeted Candace and other people and said they never deleted his videos, but YouTube or Spotify automatically deletes it themselves after so much time, even though that's never happened with me. It's never happened with Joe Rogan, Yeah, very interesting. And then he called her a DEI hire, which again, yeah. Weird. Just weird, man. All the way weird. Okay, the Bible speaks about gossip, so he has no receipts, so that should tell us a lot about this person claiming to be a pastor. Research the Holy Scriptures. Exactly. And I was hoping he was just going to come with some receipts. His truth bomb was, let me tell you all what my source, trust me, bro, has revealed about things that was said by other people, allegedly, behind the scenes over the past 10 years about Candace. If he wasn't a Zionist, he would be a lot more credible. If he didn't have a military background, he would be a lot more credible. I wouldn't be shocked to find out he's a Freemason either. The so-called conservative movement owes Candace for researching and revealing before the election that Kamala is 0% black. Yeah. Now, remember, according to Graham Allen, she's a leftist, but she put an incredible documentary together exposing Kamala Harris's family history ties to Freemasonry as well, along with the fact that Kamala Harris isn't even actually black. But she's a leftist. Why did she put this investment into exposing Kamala Harris? That only helped Trump, right? Love Didi, I'm telling you, those comments are, who are under faker accounts. Yeah, man. I believe that that's possible. I'm just at a point now where I'm starting to entertain the possibility that these people may have machines that have massive bots. Because in real life, who thinking like this? Who thinking like those people in the comment section? Who? You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, bro, I definitely agree with you. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Our God wasn't speaking through that Pentagon pastor. I like that. That's what I'm going to start calling him. Graham Allen, the Pentagon pastor. I like that. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and for reassuring me that there's real humans still out here. Right. Using Candace, using Officer Tatum. Maybe I'll include that in the description as well. I've exposed Officer Tatum as well. Officer Tatum don't care about the facts. Officer Tatum has made so much money off Trump, selling gear with Trump's face on it, defending Trump, finding whatever angle. If somebody exposes something about Trump, or if Trump exposes himself, Brandon Tatum is going to take that situation. How can I flip that to defend Trump, to look out for Trump? That person is about money. A lot of money. I could never be like that. You would have to keep up that image. When that person that you're defending, or that party that you're defending, when they start doing stupid things like the Epstein files, and certain things are being exposed by conservatives, you're going to have to be like Officer Tatum. The YouTube channel Poppin' Politics, Matt Walsh, and you're going to pretend like the Epstein files are not exposing all these conservatives. You have an image to hold up. When you're being yourself, you can just be yourself. Crazy. Absolutely insane. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat, Mystic Gypsy. Good to see you again. I'm a white lady in Texas. 100% agree with your take on dudes' racist undertones. I was yelling at my TV about it. I also think he's not a fan of women in general, especially ones more successful than him. Yeah. Love your podcast, Didi. Keep on keeping on. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a thank you for this. What's very important to understand is that when you have conservative values like I do, what I've learned about the right is if you actually point out something that is racist, they'll still look at you and say, you're a leftist. I knew you were really a leftist. Well, to be a conservative or to have conservative values doesn't mean that you believe racism doesn't exist. It means you don't agree with the left weaponizing racism, weaponizing sexism when it doesn't apply. That's the truth. But racism is a real thing. There are many white conservatives that are racist. Just because they claim to believe in the Bible means nothing. Right? I don't believe all white conservatives are racist. That's not my position. But yeah, there are some of those that are. Just because you're conservative don't mean you're exempt from that. Graham Allen gives me Matt Walsh vibes. Yeah. But he knows, like, obviously, if you have any amount of sense, I can't just come right out and say, I don't like that she's a woman. I don't like that this black person is more popular than me. More people like this person than me. I knew her and I don't think she's as better than me in X, Y, and Z, but yet she's getting more love than me. This dude gets me, he's far from a pastor. He gives me, if he was to debate in person, he'd probably borderline threaten a woman. You know? Dre Latina, good to see you again. Keep speaking truth. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm sure you know they have bounties out there to get people to post certain about topics, etc. for money. Yeah, I've heard about it. I would never understand that. Crazy though. Crazy. That part at the beginning is the craziest part. To find out that additional information about that 15-year-old girl, How do you explain that? How are you one of these people, the bots, the Graham Allens of the world, the Matt Walshes, the Officer Tatum? When you see irrefutable evidence like that, what do you say? What do you do? You pretend like you don't see it? What do you do? This isn't good for my content, so maybe if I just don't comment on it, like I'm not commenting on the Epstein files because, shoot, I'm a conservative. And if I do that, then I'm probably going to lose money because they're going to say, let's just use Officer Tatum as an example. I know that majority of my audience are white conservatives. And even though we share the same politics, even though we share the same faith, a lot of us do. They know that I've made a lot of money from merchandise. Talking about God, talking about Trump, right? Trump 2024, right? Trump 2.0, right? They know I'm friends with Charlie. They're going to turn on me. That's a lot of my audience. I'm going to lose a lot of money. I can't do that. So I have to take the safe route. Because if I actually delve into the things that Candace is talking about, people are going to turn on me. So how about I just don't talk about it? How about I just pretend the Epstein files aren't being released? What if I just pretend like, what if I just pretend that there are more important things to talk about, like Matt Walsh does? Let's spend a bunch of time talking about the left as if President Trump isn't the president, as if we don't control the House and the Senate as conservatives. Let's pretend like that's not the reality, and let's spend 90% of time still talking about the left, even though they have very little control in this country now. That's what we should do. Let's talk about transgenders. We've made a living off of that over the past 5 years. And even though we won and we're back into the Senate and the House, we control all of it. Let's ignore all the crap that Trump is ruining right now. Let's focus on those that are not in control. That'll make for great content. That'll keep the bots in the comment section. That'll keep them entertained. Because if Trump, or whenever Trump leaves and we get the next Democrat president, Gavin Newsom or whoever, that's going to be content for the next 4 years. But for now, we have to pretend that the leftists are still running things. Yeah, let's do that. Let's pretend like we actually have backbones and integrity. When everybody who have two eyeballs in the brain can see, we're cowards. And it's obvious that we're cowards. We see all of the red flags. We don't care because we're paid agents. And whether you like it or not, we're going to continue to be paid agents. Yeah. Crazy. Don't forget to hit the like button, everybody, if you did not mind. Yeah, craziness. All right, y'all. Let's get back to this research. I still need to get my Bad Bunny halftime show out. I promise you I'm still gonna get that video to y'all. It's probably not gonna be until like Thursday. Tomorrow's gonna be a crazy day. So Didi, did you see my comment about the Mamdani picture? The picture with him, Epstein, Gates, etc., from when he was little as AI, just looking out. Peace. Thank you. Was that AI for real? If that is AI, I will definitely issue an apology and correct that. How did you find that out? Because I'm not so sure. Maybe it was. But if it was, I need to know. I'll definitely look into it. Thank you for telling me. Because we only want to share things that are true here. So y'all in the comment section. Give me your thoughts as always. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. I'm going to catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate at UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright? No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to me. Talk to me. Now let me start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people who are, or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you?
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.